4,000 years ago, in the river valleys of what is now Pakistan and northwest India, a civilization rose that was, in sheer size, larger than ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia put together. Its cities were laid out on precise grids, with covered drains running beneath every street, standardized brick sizes used across a territory the size of a small country, and a system of weights so consistent that a merchant could trust a measurement in one city as much as in another 500 miles away. This is the Indus Valley civilization, and it left behind thousands of inscriptions on stone seals, pottery, and small tablets. This is Archive of the Ancients, and today we're looking at the one thing about this civilization that has defeated nearly a century of the best minds in archaeology. Nobody can read a single word of what they wrote. Let's start with what we actually have. Archaeologists have recovered more than 4,000 inscribed objects from Indus Valley sites, most of them small stone seals stamped with animals, bulls, elephants, tigers, and a mysterious unicorn-like creature that appears more often than any real animal in the record. Above these images run short strings of symbols, sharp angular pictographs that look nothing like Egyptian hieroglyphics or Mesopotamian cuneiform. There are around 400 distinct symbols in total. That number alone has fueled a century of argument. 400 is too many to be a simple alphabet, where each symbol represents one sound. Most alphabets top out around 30. But it's too few to be a system where each symbol represents a whole word, the way many Chinese characters do. Those systems typically need thousands of characters to function. The Indus script sits in an uncomfortable middle ground, and that ambiguity is the first wall every decipherment attempt has hit. The second wall is even simpler. There's almost nothing to compare it to. When scholars cracked Egyptian hieroglyphics, they had the Rosetta Stone, the same text written in 3 known scripts side by side. Cuneiform was deciphered with help from trilingual royal inscriptions in Persia. The Indus script has no bilingual text, no known descendant language it clearly evolved into, and no surviving oral tradition that names it. It exists in near total isolation. And the inscriptions themselves are frustratingly short. The average Indus seal carries only about 5 symbols. The longest known inscription, discovered on a signboard-like object, has just 17. Compare that to the Rosetta Stone's thousands of characters of context, and you start to see the scale of the problem. Researchers are trying to reconstruct an entire unknown language from what amounts to a stack of business cards. Most researchers now believe the seals were used in trade and administration, perhaps marking ownership, recording a transaction, or identifying a clan or guild. That would explain why they're short. A seal doesn't need to tell a story, it just needs to say who or what it belongs to. But knowing the probable function of the seals hasn't helped anyone read the actual words. Over the decades, decipherment attempts have split into 2 broad camps that still don't agree. One camp, drawing on statistical patterns in how symbols repeat and cluster, argues the script encodes a language related to the Dravidian family, still spoken across much of southern India today. Their computational models, comparing symbol sequences to known language structures, suggest patterns consistent with a real complex language, enough that, in the early 2000s, one prominent study claimed the script structure statistically resembled real spoken language far more than random symbols would.
The second camp pushes back hard. In 2004, a group of linguists published a controversial paper arguing the Indus symbols weren't a full writing system encoding spoken language at all, but a non-linguistic sign system, more like the emblems, religious symbols, or heraldic marks used across many pre-modern trading cultures, which don't need to represent grammar or speech to be meaningful. If they're right, there may be no sentence to decode, because the seals were never meant to be read the way we read a written language. The stakes of that argument go beyond academic curiosity. Indus seals have turned up in Mesopotamian cities more than 1,000 miles away, physical proof this civilization traded across the ancient world. If the script really does encode a lost language, cracking it could reveal names of kings, gods, laws, or origin myths for a civilization that otherwise left us no royal inscriptions, no epic poems, and no king list at all. A silence almost unique among the great early civilizations. And then, around 1900 BCE, the great Indus cities began to empty out. Rivers shifted course, monsoon patterns changed, and within a few centuries, the tightly planned urban centers were largely abandoned. The people didn't vanish. Their descendants likely spread into smaller settlements across the subcontinent. But the script, whatever it truly was, appears to have gone silent along with the cities that used it, leaving no clear literary or religious tradition to carry its meaning forward. Today, artificial intelligence and computational linguistics are being pointed at the Indus script with fresh enthusiasm, trained on every known inscription in hopes of finding a pattern human eyes have missed for 100 years. So far, the symbols keep their secret. Was it a full language recording the words of one of history's largest early civilizations, or a system of marks that was never meant to speak at all? Let us know your theory in the comments, and if you want more stories of ancient mysteries still waiting to be solved, subscribe to Archive of the Ancients.